Welcome back. A show of support for the Iran nuclear deal coming from the head of Iran's military, this man, touting at least 16 advantages and lauding the fact that, quote, regarding Iran's missile activities, it doesn't order but only asks for Iran's compliance. Meanwhile, it is a harder sell for the president right now, who doubled down this week, comparing Republicans who reject the deal in Congress to those who chant, quote, death to America in Iran. But the president may want to look at his own party, where prominent Senator Chuck Schumer, the man expected to take over for Harry Reid in the Senate, and Congressman Engel saying they will vote no for this deal. I want to bring in Edward Cox. He is chairman of the Republican Party of New York. And Ed, it's always wonderful to have you on the program.
Good to be with you, Maria.
Let's get into the Iran deal right now. How important was it that Schumer and Engel said that they're going to vote no? What does this mean for the absolute fate of this arrangement?
Maria, that's huge. It means there's going to be bipartisan opposition and not bipartisan support. When my father-in-law, President Nixon, got his SALT agreements and Reagan got his agreements, they had bipartisan support. The country supported them. With this deal, the country 2-1 is against the deal, and now you've got Schumer against it. That doesn't bode well, not just with respect to getting whether the deal's approved or not, but if the veto of the president, which you would expect, is upheld, it means that the next president of the United States, who I expect will be Republican, can renounce the deals.
Well, that's important because now it goes into the lap of the next president of the country. How is he or she going to reverse this? Do you think with these no votes from Schumer and Engel that Congress has a shot to actually change this fate?
Well, first of all, Congress will probably reject the deals.
Then the president will veto.
Will veto. The odds are that his veto will be upheld, although that can be very close. But if the agreements are upheld, the president has made a tactical mistake in doing as agreements and not a treaty. As agreements, the next president of the United States can reject them. And all the candidates are saying, we will reject it.
Right.
And same with Obamacare, the way he did it, because there was not bipartisan support, as FDR had bipartisan support for Social Security and the Great Society. President Johnson had bipartisan support, so Medicaid, Medicare have continued. The president is making the mistake and drawing hard lines here and making it very partisan rather than looking for bipartisan support.
But observers have been saying, look, when you say, look, the snapback of sanctions in place, that doesn't happen overnight. It's going to be difficult regardless, right, for the new leader in charge.
Schumer handled that and say that's very questionable whether that will work. The snapback is not a snapback, and Schumer, in his very detailed analysis, says snapback doesn't work.
Yeah. Were you surprised to see Schumer's reaction here? I mean, obviously he's not playing politics. He's following what his heart says. Well, he could be
playing a little bit of politics, and that's the question here. To release it on Thursday night, right in the middle of the debates.
True,
I remember sitting there watching the debates in the room, in the convention center, and
getting that news on your phone.
Now, if he's whispering to other senators, look, I have to do this for political reasons, but then it's not going to make that. But he should be out there if he really believes, as I think he does, that these agreements should not pass, then I think he should be out there campaigning with his fellow senators quietly, the way you do in the Senate, and make sure they reject it also.
All right, let me get your take on the debates on the field right now from your fellow colleagues in the Republican Party. How do you think they're doing?
Oh, I think they did very well. 24 million. Big winner was Fox.
Huge.
My golly, that was a record. But what they saw was not just Trump, but they saw 9 other really very good candidates. Each one of them did very well from their point of view and their position in the primary race now.
So the Republicans have some real momentum. How do you keep that momentum going?
We have huge momentum. My golly, last November we won the governorships in the blue states of Illinois, Maryland, and Massachusetts. We now have 31 governorships. We have more legislative seats all across the country than they ever had. We won the United States Senate. We are on a roll. Absent huge economic growth, 4% growth, one of those candidates on the stage is going to be the next president of the United States.
Yeah, and you know, certainly the good news is that they're sticking to the issues. We're talking about economic growth, about wages, about the Iran deal, about ISIS. This is what the American people want to hear.
Oh, they were substantive back and forth, as you saw, between Christie and Rand Paul with respect to national security versus the Bill of Rights. These are real debates.
How do you think the list changes in the second debate and the third debate?
We'll have to see. Probably stays pretty. I think Carly Fiorina gets into it because she just did such a good job.
Yeah.
I think the dynamics will change as we go on. Some of the long-distance runners will, such as Walker and Bush, they will be pushing a little bit more rather than just parrying, because they are in very good positions and they have great records as governors that they can stand on. They don't have to, quote unquote, win the debate in order to win the primary process.
What about Hillary? Your thoughts on her campaign?
Oh my
so
gosh,
far?
that Hillary is in a dreary death march at the moment and getting eclipsed by the Republican field.
Ed, it's good to have you on the show today.
Always good to be with you.
We'll be watching the developments. Ed Cox, chairman of the Republican Party in New York. 17 Republicans vying for the job of U.S. president, but only one can win the party's nomination. Find out who separated themselves from the pack during that first primary debate. Both debates on Thursday. We're looking ahead this morning. Our panel is next on Sunday Morning Futures.